Last night we got the PlayStation Portal update 4.00. This is the cloud streaming update. It's a very exciting update. It's been a few months since the last one, and I wasn't sure if we were going to get any more major updates for the Portal, honestly. And obviously the most notable feature is the ability to stream PS5 games directly to your Portal without the use of your own PS5. You're streaming from Sony PS5 servers instead. Some other notable features of this update are the ability to lower the volume even lower than before, so the minimum volume is much quieter than it used to be, and I can confirm that is the case. Before this update, I found that the lowest volume setting was always too loud, and because it's top firing speakers on the Portal, it was always louder for everyone else around you than for yourself, so that is a very welcome update. And while I haven't been someone who's noticed the stutter on the Portal, this had to do with conflicting signals of 60 FPS versus 59.97 FPS from the PS5's output and the Portal's screen input, but I'm happy to see online that a lot of people are saying this has been fixed. I never got around to testing it myself, and I never really noticed this issue, but that is a huge fix because people have been complaining about that since day one. Something interesting about that is apparently this was a kernel issue. This wasn't really a Sony software issue. This user on Reddit went into a lot of depth about that update process on Reddit, and apparently they hit the nail on the head on why this was even the case. And while the stutter is fixed, the HDR issue still occurred right away. That's always the first thing I test when the Portal gets an update. But I made a whole video about testing that, and a quick solution: you can use the invert toggle in accessibility that'll disable HDR video going to your Portal if that's happening for you. Maybe go check out my video explaining that whole thing. Some people say this is fixed on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't have one myself, so I can't really test it, but I would still say that's just mixed reporting because the examples I've seen online are not really good representations of what my videos are demonstrating, or they use certain games that have HDR toggles built into the game, which is definitely not the case for most PS5 games. I've also heard reports of improved bitrate, and there's also an option to set the quality to 1080p or 720p manually. I haven't heard anything about the audio delay. I filmed some audio delay tests, but I haven't really taken a look at the results. If I ever get around to that video, I'll definitely have a before and after of this update if it actually fixed it. There's also been some improvements with PlayStation Link devices. I think there's a few more settings to do with that. I don't have one of those earbuds or headsets yet myself, but improvements to that are always welcome. There's still no update on regular Bluetooth compatibility for regular AirPods or whatever Bluetooth headsets you want to use. So maybe we'll get that one day. But beyond that, let's just take a look at this new cloud streaming stuff and see what's new in the OS itself. So once we update the Portal and you boot up to the home screen, you'll go into the settings. You can enable cloud streaming beta if you are a PlayStation Plus Premium member. And once you enable that, you'll be able to see basically two apps on the home screen of your Portal, which is pretty cool. So you have two little bubbles here. So if you choose the regular remote play connection, it'll go to the original, what I would have considered the home screen of the Portal. But if you open the settings, you'll now notice that there is a home button that'll bring you back to the screen with the two bubbles. One little weird quirk about that I've noticed is that the PlayStation button on the device does not do anything in the Portal OS itself or when you're cloud streaming, which is kind of weird. Makes sense when you're cloud streaming that it wouldn't open a home screen of the PlayStation 5 server that you're doing, but it would make sense to map that instead to the Portal OS, so you could go back to the two bubble screen. So it's just kind of weird that the PlayStation button isn't actually functioning in many spaces of the PlayStation Portal OS itself. The cloud streaming pulls your saves directly from the cloud, which is a reason why it requires PlayStation Plus, but it's super convenient and seamless. Here's all the games. They are sorted by recently added to PlayStation Plus. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any way to sort or filter these that I could figure out. One other random thing is that a lot of these thumbnail artworks are very low resolution. I assume that's so it loads really fast, because there is quite a few games in here and there will presumably be more added in the future, so they just want it to load up really fast. So they're using low quality thumbnails, but on the high resolution screen of the Portal, they just do look quite blurry. So right now, the only games that you can stream are PS5 games. They don't have any PS4 or even PS3 games available yet, but I think it's a safe bet that they'll add those things once this feature is out of beta. But it is really cool because the only devices that can stream PS5 games like this are the PS5 itself and now the Portal. On the PC PlayStation Plus streaming app, you can only stream PS4 and PS3 titles, so that's kind of a feature that's exclusive for the latest hardware. And there are a few of the recent PS2 ports to PS5 in here, like Mr. Mosquito, so you can play some retro games. And again, I'm sure they're going to add PS4 and PS3 stuff later on down the line, so lots to look forward to there. Some other cool advantages of this is that if you're traveling, for example, and your PS5 at home gets shut off through a power outage or someone messing with it maybe, you can still stream quite a few games. Maybe some of which you had downloaded to your PS5, you can just play them from your portal connecting to a Sony server that's closer to where you're traveling than from your home PS5, so it should work better in theory. Another cool thing you can do with certain games like the Legends mode in Ghost of Tsushima or maybe even GTA Online is on your portal you could open up a game with your primary PSN, and then if you have a second PSN on your PS5, you could play the games from your primary PSN account that are installed on your system, and you could play a sort of multiplayer setup where one person's using the TV, one person's playing the portal, which would be especially useful for games that don't have built-in split screen like Fall Guys or The Division 2, for example. The reason I say a secondary PSN account is because when you're cloud streaming on the portal, the same account on your PS5 will not be able to play games. It'll actually boot you off. Similar to what happens when you try to connect another Player One controller to the PS5 when remote play is already in use. And adding on to that, because you don't need a PS5 at all, you could also just buy a portal and get the subscription, and it's actually quite useful to play all these games. It definitely puts the portal in more direct competition with stuff like the Logitech G Cloud, which is just a streaming handheld device. Definitely improves the value of this device a lot if you're into the PlayStation ecosystem. Really cool update overall. Looking forward to using the portal even more. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And let me know down below what your favorite part of this update is.